to get everyone's life back to normal as quickly as possible. Just think of it. This is really literally second day after the storm. We have a ways to go, but we're beginning to make some real progress. As of a few moments ago, we will have approximately 475,000 people without power, down from well over 600,000 last night. The utility companies know that this is our priority, and they are doing everything they can to move as quickly as they can. I want everyone to know that this remains our top priority. I would also like to point out that President Obama is doing conference calls with the CEOs of the utility companies in the affected areas in the United States, including UI and CL&P. This is an extraordinary step for the President and his Secretary of Energy to have taken, and it is greatly appreciated. The message is clear. We in government stand ready to help the utility companies help our residents so that we can all get our lives back to normal as quickly as possible. Today, the Lieutenant Governor and I will both be traveling to some of the most impacted areas to meet with local officials to see what we can do to help move recovery and restorations along. I'll be in Stonington, New London, Clinton, Westbrook, and Madison, and Guilford. And the Lieutenant Governor will be in Trumbull, Fairfield, Milford, and West Haven. You can coordinate with our respective staffs on that if you'd like. Here are a few other updates. 3 people have been hospitalized because of carbon monoxide poisoning. This is something we monitor, so let's be very careful. If you're going to heat your home, you have to vent whatever you're heating it with. That's just a reality. We don't want to lose citizens 1, 2, or 3 days after an event because they forgot to vent the heating source. So be very careful out there, please. 29 of the state's sewage treatment plants are running on backup power. We are working to get them back on track as soon as possible. This is an extremely high priority for us. One issue I want to address this morning is the rumor that's apparently out there that somehow drinking water has been contaminated in some parts of our state. It is not true. We don't have proof of any contamination. We believe that the majority of the public and private water sources are fine for drinking. We have no reported instances of contaminated drinking. However, if you yourself, on a well, have some fear about your water, then the best thing to do is boil it. That's what we're saying. Okay? We have posted boiling advisories so that people understand what steps to take as a precaution. About 30 state facilities are without power. We are making alternative arrangements for those employees that would otherwise work in those facilities to come to work in another area so they can help us in our restoration efforts and, quite frankly, to help us get back to normal as quickly as possible. About 800 National Guardsmen remain on active duty, and their assignments are consistent with what they were doing in days past, assisting in road clearing, assisting in security, and other activities. More than 25 school districts have decided to open today. I'm very grateful for that. The state's largest district, Bridgeport, is still closed, but UI is working to get those schools back online as soon as possible. That said, Housatonic Community College will also be open today at noon. That goes from probable to definite, I'm told. The Red Cross is down to 47 shelters that are open and operating primarily in the Bridgeport area. Our current estimate is we had 1,500 people using housing thus supplied last night. 211 is continuing to staff up to deal with the expected influx of post-storm calls. You might ask, why are we getting more now? As people are moving back into their dwellings, they're calling to understand the implications of water and spills in their cellars or elsewhere in their house and looking for assistance with DEP and how to make contacts and that sort of thing. We understand that. We're trying to staff up to be able to give those kinds of answers. DOT has waived oversized weight restrictions on fuel vehicles so that we can get as much gas to gas stations as quickly as possible. We are happy that our terminals, by and large, are up and running in New Haven and in Bridgeport at this point, so that there is fuel stuffs to move about our state. I also want to say to the residents who don't live on the coastline that I know that many of you have been without power for the duration of the storm and now into an additional day, and I know that your towns have suffered damage as well. That's why I'm working to have FEMA declarations extended to all counties in the state. This is a very high priority. We will do our homework. I believe we will ultimately get those declarations, and I want people to understand that. I finally had a chance last night to see some of the coverage from some of the other states that were hit hard by the storm, especially New York and New Jersey. There are a lot of places that just got clobbered, including some of our own cities and towns, but my heart goes out to the people of New Jersey and New York. We have been in contact with those governors' offices and with DOT and other officials from those states. I will later today try to contact both governors and offer them whatever resources we might be able to lend now or when we're in an advanced state of recovery. The power of Mother Nature is awesome, but so is the resilience and determination of the people of Connecticut as well. We're all going to get through this. I want again to take a moment to thank the people of Connecticut and all the hardworking service providers, our first responders, our mayors and first selectmen, our law enforcement and other public safety personnel, the National Guard, and the line and tree crews out there working in our state. Everyone, I mean everyone, is working as hard as possible, as they possibly can. It's heartening to see everyone pulling in the same direction, so let's keep it going. Now I'll take a few questions.
What did the White House tell you that they can do for the utility companies, and whatever they can do, wouldn't it be directed towards New York anyway?
They're sitting in on the calls with the coordinating agencies. I think they're pushing further away states to send assets more quickly. We just reserved UI just heard that they'll be getting some assistance from Nova Scotia. So it's that kind of thing. This is a massive issue. We need a massive response on a national basis, and I believe as days go by, we'll be the beneficiaries of that assistance. As I told you, the first crew that I actually had time to talk with yesterday was from Kansas City.
Have you made any effort towards trying to make the utility companies give people some sort of an estimate as when their power is going to be restored?
I think both will be in a position tomorrow to make that estimate. Yesterday was solely make safe, clear roads. We cleared a very large number of roads yesterday. There are additional roads, both state and local, that will continue to get a lot of attention. So that takes some people away from restoration, but those numbers are shrinking as the numbers of roads that need to be cleared are shrinking. I think by the end of the day they'll have their systems fully evaluated, and I think both utilities will be in a position to make estimates.
It's clear from the numbers CL&P's made a good deal of progress overnight. They told you that they're working all night too. I didn't.
Yeah, no, they have about, if I remember correctly, somewhere from a third to 25%. Usually 25% of their available assets for recovery purposes working at night versus about 75%, maybe a little bit less, working during the days, depending on how long these schedules are getting. UI was walloped. I just reviewed about 200 pictures of some of the damage in the UI, primarily damage in the UI area, and it's clear that they took a real beating as well.
You know how many roads and highways are blocked?
We, on state roads, I think we freed up about 200 blockages yesterday. I think we were remaining on all major roads are up and running. We had about 80 blockages on state roads. What's up? Yep, 70 or 80 blockages on state roads that would presumably be cleared today. That's our goal. After that, our state DOT, actually some state DOT resources will be offered to local communities starting today, I should say, if those roads are not concentrated in that work area. So we intend to work with some local governments to help them as well. And then I think perhaps the utility folks could tell you a little bit more about the local road side of it.
It's my understanding that President Obama is going to some states. Is he coming to Connecticut?
Not at this point. He's welcome. I'm grateful for his activity, but he's he's a little busy right now. But we'll receive him whenever we can.
What have you heard about Metro North?
I don't have an update on the Metro North. Commissioner Redeker is in constant contact with those folks. As I told you yesterday, no extensive or no damage that would stop service on the track system. As of last night, they were concentrating on non-track issues, which really has to do more with signage and signaling and all of that stuff. I'll get a report for you. As I told you, that they are kicking around an idea of trying to establish some contact in and out of New York by rail. I suspect we would be some of the first players in that. I'm going to get to you next, I promise. I'm sorry.
A shuttle service of some
Yeah, that was an idea. I'm just sharing with you what my commissioner was sharing with me yesterday, and that was an idea that was being kicked around. Yes.
Tonight is Halloween. I mean, have you been speaking to the local municipalities about whether it's safe or not to?
That's a call for them to make. Kids like Halloween. I'm anxious that the state be on a trajectory to return to the greatest normalcy it can. So, if your community is safe and you're comfortable having Halloween, I'd encourage you to have it Halloween.
Will you
if you're
candy at the...
I will if you don't tell anyone. Of which I think there's a limit of I think 1,100 candy bars. So I will be open for business. I am returning to the closest thing I can get to normal on Halloween.
Governor, it's no secret your relationship with Governor Christie has been interesting to a certain degree. So what was it like last night to see the coverage in New York and think about what governor to governor, what he's going through, and what is it beyond offering help? What is it on a personal basis you would wish to say to him? Well,
I've been through 3 of these in a year, these are tough situations. I think both governors are on a scale dealing with something perhaps larger because they're in larger states, and in New Jersey's case they were absolutely walloped, and in New York's case that flood it was just unbelievable. So my heart goes out to them, and I've already instructed our DOT people that as soon as we're in a position to free assets, which is not today unless it's on a very specialized basis, but in the coming days, that we will offer whatever support we can to New York and to New Jersey, whether that's moving equipment. I'm going to instruct our fire people to reach out because I'm sure they lost some fire apparatus. If they need loans, if there's things that we can help them with, we're going to be good neighbors. Quite frankly, sometimes the fun of the jarring going around between governors has to be put aside. And so as we progress in our recovery, we will do anything we can to help our neighbors. That's who we are.
Were you surprised to see the attention that, were you surprised by Governor Christie's comments about the president? He seemed to go above and beyond complimenting the presidential response and the FEMA response, and the media attention that in turn got.
Well, here is a political point. The governor and I don't frequently agree, but on that we are. I think the president, listen, I've been through 3 of these. There is no doubt that well before we knew the magnitude of the damage of the storm, when we were only considering the potential of the storm, that the president treated this set of circumstances differently than he had treated any other. And it had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with a massive storm, combinations of storms that were going to wreak havoc in a very broad basis. And he provided the kind of national leadership that I think is encouraging to governors, encouraging to the people who work in government, and I think that the governor of New Jersey, in his own fashion, is doing nothing but recognizing that fact.
Have you heard from the Secretary of the State and the Association of Registrars of Voters on their preparations for the election?
On almost every call that I've had since Saturday, the Secretary of State's office has been included. Obviously, we extended, for instance, the deadline for people to register to vote until Thursday. I will tell you, if I heard that a lot of town clerks' offices were not open today, then we may consider extending it another day. So we're going to have those kinds of discussions. But what is most important is that somehow, some way, this election take place in the state of Connecticut. That is our best sign of normalcy. This is a national election with national implications. We need to vote, and I have asked the Secretary of State's office, the registrars, the town clerks, the mayors, the first selectmen to do everything they can to make sure that we have this election. Now, having said that, I'll keep you updated, but that's my great desire, and I think we in Connecticut are capable of doing that.
Impacted certainly by the storm.
We're all impacted by the storm, and that remains to be seen exactly how. But in these things, you want me to have goals? My goal is to have an election on Election Day. Thank you. I'm sorry. Well, last one. That's it.
You are going to try to talk personally today with both.
Yeah, we have been in contact with both states, so I want you to understand that, particularly on issues of mutual importance.
When was the last time you talked to Christie?
It wasn't all that long ago. So
And how would you describe your relationship with?
Oh, it's fine. It's transparent. Thank you.